Hi guys, I'm literally hiding out in my son's room. Not really hiding because there's no one in our house right now, but I am doing the bedroom clean out, doing the fall purge, fall closets, all the things. And I just had this like moment of inspiration and I wanted to go live and just share this little message with you because I have been working with a number of women on kind of their social media strategy over the last few weeks, especially in my social strategy workshop that I just ran inside of the Level Up community. It's actually only available till tomorrow at 11 if you are interested in checking it out. Just comment below and I will give you the link to get it. But just talking about, like, because a lot of people have hangups, right? Like, oh, I'm not a big fan of Facebook. Oh, I'm not a big fan of Instagram. It just feels really overwhelming. Or I feel like it's all this. Or like there's a lot of people out there that use social media to kind of play that comparison game. And then they like sink into that hole of despair. And I even kind of had this revelation around what Instagram means for me and what Instagram actually means for my social media strategy. And I'm like taking an entirely different look at the platform and how I'm going to use it and how I'm going to consume it. But what I want you to know, and the message I wanted to talk about today, was that your social media feed can absolutely be curated to you, right? Like you get to be the one that decides whose content do I consume, who do I follow, who do I engage with, what lights me up inside, what motivates me, what do I want to open this app and see and feel. I think so often we go down that rabbit hole, and I know for me this was like a big realization last week. I went into an account that like I told myself I wasn't going to pay attention to, because every single time I do, there's like this trigger for me. And it's just a little bit of like I feel like she's out of integrity with the things that she says and the things that she does and all these things. And then I'm like, Lori, light bulb moment. You don't need to just tell yourself not to engage in that account. You can actually unfollow that account so that you're never tempted to go in there. So you're never spiraling down this hole of despair. And we get to do that, right? Like, and I think, why do we punish ourselves when we go onto these apps? Why do we do things that, or consume things that don't feel good? So I'm literally being intentional. And so on Instagram, it means really only following people that you desire to follow, that you want to consume their content, that you get value from their content. And that kind of like when you go into that app, because I think Instagram is a really consumable app, like a platform where I look forward to going in and learning and paying attention to the people that I love following. It's just sometimes when something hits me in the face because I'm following something that really isn't aligned to the human that I am, or the business that I'm building, or even the life that I'm building, that it kind of throws me off. So I am going through this whole like rigmarole with the app and really making sure that it is a curated like collection of individuals that I desire to engage with, right? You don't need to just follow somebody because they follow you. And over on Facebook, because here's the thing, when you unfollow somebody on Instagram, they're not really necessarily probably ever going to notice because they don't get an alert, and they may have, maybe someone would notice. I don't think that they would. I know that I personally wouldn't notice if somebody unfollowed me. I'm never checking to make sure that people are still following me. If somebody has that much time in their day to do that, then maybe that's the biggest problem at hand. But number two, on Facebook, sometimes there's going to be people like maybe your Aunt Martha, right? Like maybe she's got these like insane political views, or maybe she believes the coronavirus is a like conspiracy, or like maybe every single time she pops up on your feed, it like sinks your energy. Because I know, especially in times like these, you can see the people spiral that are on social media consuming all that negativity. Social media can be this incredibly uplifting and incredible experience, but it can also be soul sucking, depending on the kind of content that you are consuming. So get really, really crystal clear on the things that you want to engage in, right? It's kind of, for me, similar to the fact that I do not read the newspaper and I do not watch the news. And this blows my mother away. And I'm certain she's called me ignorant at a few different times. not really, right? But she loves like CNN and stuff and like really keeping up with the virus and all the things that are going on in the world. And my perspective on that is that it doesn't make me feel good. In fact, it makes me actually feel terrible. And I will find out absolutely everything that I want to know or need to know if I need to know it, right? Or if I want to seek it out. But we all know, we've all been in one of those moms groups where we go down the spiral and like blah, 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 blah. We're over on Instagram and we're looking at somebody's curated feed that like makes us feel like dirt of a parent, like unfollow. And the same with Facebook. If you don't want to unfriend someone for the sake of like not pissing them off or not bothering them, like your Aunt Martha, who's like political and crisis views are just really hardcore, all you need to do is unfollow their personal account. And then you will not see the things that they say. And then you would have to actually go into their profile in order to consume their content. So the first piece of that puzzle is kind of weeding out the content that you don't want to see, the content that you don't wish to engage in, the content that really doesn't have a place in your life. And then the second piece of that curation is to make sure that like you're filling your soul with like content that actually lifts you up, makes you feel good. For me right now, like I'm starting this book journey and I'm writing, like I did the outline today, wrote a chapter today of my book. And like I've been on this journey for the last little bit, but part of the journey for me today was to make sure that my Instagram account actually was filled with writers, because that would get me into the writing frame of mind that might give me some tips and tricks along the way. And it ultimately would kind of put me into that energy. And that's what I desire as I take on this new title in life of writer, right? Author. And so that was a piece of my kind of curation today. So anyways, this is just a little bit of a ramble on the fact that you are absolutely in control of your social media consumption. The other thing that I would try to encourage you to get really, really aware of is that mindless scroll. Ask yourself, what is it that I'm here looking for? What is it that I want to do? Am I just trying to unplug or detach from life right now? Like, is there a reason why I'm just mindless? Like, we can catch ourselves. I catch myself all the time where there's something that I don't really want to do, or I just went down the rabbit hole for 20 minutes and it really didn't serve me. And like, social media is a really, really powerful tool for our businesses, but it can also be a distraction, and there can be really a lot of negative consequences in our lives as well. So I think it's like this powerful tool that we need to make sure we use for good. And the world is using it for good, right? And you are the one that's in control of your feeds. You're the one that's in control of your consumption. So use that tool wisely.